The story begins deep at the bottom of the Philippine Trench, where a rescue mission is taking place. Deep-sea rescue diver Jonas Taylor undertakes a high-stakes mission to save the crew of a nuclear submarine. He manages to extract some of the trapped crew, but suddenly, the sub begins shaking violently. The rescue team feels a powerful impact from outside. Something massive and unknown is attacking the vessel. Jonas, recognizing the threat and calculating that a full rescue is no longer possible, is forced to make an impossible decision. Ignoring Heller's desperate protests, he orders the rescue pod to ascend immediately, sacrificing those left behind to save the lives of those he could reach. As they ascend, an explosion rocks the submarine, confirming that had they stayed, they would all have perished. Despite saving lives, Jonas is vilified for abandoning the others and is accused of succumbing to pressure. Fast forward to the present day. Off the coast of China, a cutting-edge underwater research station called Mana 1 is carrying out deep-sea experiments. Funded by eccentric tech billionaire Jack Morris, the station is led by oceanographer Minwei Zhang and managed by his daughter Su Yin, a capable and determined marine scientist. The team at Mana 1 includes an array of skilled professionals: Jax, DJ, Dr. Heller, and Mac, Jonas's longtime friend. We are also introduced to a diving crew currently conducting an operation in the Mariana Trench. The pilot, Lori, Jonas's ex-wife, is a skilled submarine operator. Her crew consists of 2 other members, Toshi, who is also a friend of Jonas, and a large man nicknamed The Wall. The team is exploring what they suspect to be a false ocean floor, a cold hydrogen sulfide layer obscuring a deeper, previously undiscovered ecosystem. They break through the barrier and are awestruck by the world they discover, an ancient biome teeming with bizarre, bioluminescent life forms never before seen by humans. It's a monumental scientific breakthrough with limitless implications. But the triumph quickly turns into terror. Their submersible is struck by something fast, large, and violent, severing communication with Mana 1. Power fails, and the crew becomes trapped on the ocean floor. The team at the station scrambles to figure out what happened. Mac proposes the only solution: call Jonas Taylor. He's the only man who has successfully executed a rescue mission at that depth. Dr. Heller is strongly opposed to the idea of contacting Jonas, still blaming him for abandoning the rest of the crew during a failed rescue mission 5 years ago. Meanwhile, in Thailand, Jonas is living a life of quiet anonymity. He drinks heavily, avoids responsibility, and has become a shadow of the man he once was. Mac and Dr. Zhang track him down and explain the situation. Jonas initially brushes them off, anticipating they've come with money or desperate pleas. He insists he's done with the ocean, but the mention of people trapped in the trench stirs something in him. He suspects the same creature he encountered 5 years ago is responsible. Against his better judgment, and perhaps seeking redemption, Jonas agrees to return. Meanwhile, it's confirmed that Lori and her crew are alive, but trapped at the bottom of the trench. They work to restore power to the sub and eventually succeed. However, the reactivated lights attract the mysterious creature, which attacks them once again. The sub shudders violently, and Lori is injured in the chaos. Back at Mana 1, Su Yin and Dr. Heller discuss whether Jonas's story from 5 years ago about a massive underwater creature living in the trench could actually be true. Since then, Jonas had been dismissed as delusional, but the current events may prove he was right all along. Fearing there's no time to wait for Jonas, Su Yin decides to attempt the rescue mission on her own. As she descends, her daughter Mei Ying remains at Mana 1, watching anxiously and waving goodbye. Concern is written all over her face. Jonas arrives shortly after and wastes no time jumping into action. As he prepares his sub, he finds Mei Ying sitting in his seat. The two share a warm moment, quickly forming a bond. Jonas promises her he will bring her mother back. Without delay, he begins his descent, plunging dangerously fast. The pressure causes his nose to bleed, but he pushes forward, knowing there's no time to lose. The scene cuts to Lori and her crew, stranded in darkness. On top of Lori's bleeding wound, the crew is battling a critical lack of oxygen and the freezing temperatures. Meanwhile, Su Yin reaches the bottom of the trench and locates the stranded sub. Just as she prepares to begin the extraction, something slams into her vessel. She urgently radios Mana 1, confirming that something enormous is lurking in the depths. Suddenly, a colossal squid emerges from the shadows and begins to crush her sub. Just as the glass canopy is about to give way, the squid is violently ripped away by something even larger. From the darkness, the true threat is revealed. A Megalodon, a prehistoric shark long thought to be extinct. The sight of the Megalodon confirms Jonas's story from 5 years ago. The creature is real. Due to the earlier impact, Suyin loses control of her sub's lights. The illumination draws the Megalodon, which now charges straight at her. Just before it can strike, Jonas arrives in heroic fashion, distracting the creature and saving Suyin's life. Jonas orders Suyin to retreat, knowing her damaged vessel won't survive another encounter. She complies. Jonas continues with the rescue mission alone. Lori and the others are relieved to see the rescue party approaching. But the moment is cut short as an alarm blares, warning of the Megalodon's approach. They rush to evacuate, but Toshi realizes they don't have enough time. He hands a letter for his wife to the wall, then seals himself back inside the damaged sub, buying the others precious seconds to escape. Moments later, the Megalodon slams into the sub, destroying it and killing Toshi in the process. The surviving team members make it back to Mana 1. Heller, humbled by the proof of the Meg's existence and Toshi's death, approaches Jonas with a genuine apology. The past is not entirely forgiven, but a sense of mutual understanding begins to grow. As the team recovers from the high-stakes encounter, a moment of calm settles over Mana 1. In the aftermath of the rescue, Suyin approaches Jonas privately. She thanks him for saving her life. There's a moment between them, unspoken yet clear, a spark of connection, respect, and something more. Later, the full team gathers in the control room to debrief, and the subject turns to the Megalodon itself. Jax pulls up data on the creature, revealing its terrifying dimensions. It's made clear to everyone. The Megalodon wasn't just another predator, it was the apex predator of its time, and it could easily reclaim that title in modern oceans. The group also discusses the implications of what they've discovered. A hidden world beneath the thermocline, untouched for millions of years. While some are shaken, Jack Morris, focused on the potential windfall, remains resolute. He sees opportunity where others see danger. For him, the trench is a frontier to be mined, not feared. Jonas, visibly unsettled, reflects on the carnage they've just survived, voicing concern that the thermocline might be there for a reason. His concern isn't just for what happened, it's for what else might still be down there. The breach through the thermocline may not have been just a scientific breakthrough, but a catastrophic mistake. Meanwhile, young Mei Ying wanders the halls, playing innocently with her remote-controlled ball. Suddenly, a massive shadow looms behind the observation glass. The Megalodon, enormous and silent, emerges from the darkness. Mei Ying freezes in terror. The Meg slams against the station, terrifying Mei Ying. Jonas and Su Ying rushes to Mei Ying, who reveals that there's a monster outside. Moments later, a whale swims into its path and is brutally killed in a single, horrifying bite. The message is clear. The Meg is still out there, and it's hunting. The crew analyzes the data, searching for answers. That's when they make a chilling discovery. The thermal barrier had been temporarily pierced by the sub's earlier descent into the trench, allowing the Megalodon to escape. Faced with this growing threat, the team pivots to a desperate plan: track and kill the Meg before it reaches populated waters. They launch from Mana 1 aboard a small boat, rigged with tracking gear and a limited window to act. Jonas steps up, diving into the water with a harpoon-style tracker. He maneuvers dangerously close to the beast, managing to tag its dorsal fin. But the Meg is faster than expected. He narrowly escapes being devoured, yanked back to safety in a harrowing close call. With the shark now tagged, the next phase of the plan begins. The crew sets up over open water, trailing buckets of chum to lure the Meg into range. Below, Suyin descends in a reinforced plastic observation tank, clutching a syringe of fast-acting poison. Her mission: get close enough to inject the Meg directly. As the tank settles into the depths, a handful of regular sharks appear, circling the cage in slow, predatory loops. But Suyin holds steady, focused on the real threat. Above, the crew watches the sonar. The tagged Meg is nowhere in sight. Then suddenly, the smaller sharks vanish. An eerie calm settles over the water. And then, it strikes. The Megalodon explodes from below in a vertical assault, slamming into the observation tank with monstrous force. The impact sends shockwaves through the sea and rattles the boat above. The cage seems to hold. Su Ying manages to shoot the poison dart into the Meg, and it releases the cage. But suddenly it strikes again, now trying to swallow the cage whole. In the chaos, Su Ying's oxygen mask breaks, and she starts to drown. Jonas dives into the water without hesitation. In a frantic underwater rescue, he reaches Su Ying and pulls her from the ruined cage. Just as the Meg circles back for another strike, the poison finally takes effect. The shark convulses, slows, and dies mid-charge. Back aboard the boat, Jonas resuscitates Su Ying. After a tense moment, She gasps back to life. It seems, for now, the nightmare is over. The crew breathes a sigh of relief as the Meg's massive corpse is hauled onto the deck. The Wall climbs up for a triumphant picture, but the moment turns grim when he slips and tumbles into the water. As the others scramble to pull him out, Jonas studies the dead shark's mouth more closely. Something's off. The teeth, too small. This isn't the same monster they've been battling. It hits him. They've killed a smaller, juvenile Megalodon. Before anyone can react, the ocean erupts. The larger adult Megalodon breaches with terrifying speed, swallowing the Wall whole in a single snap. In the same motion, it grabs the younger Meg's carcass in its jaws and yanks it off the boat like dead weight. The sheer force capsizes the vessel, throwing the crew into chaos. In the chaos, Dr. Zhang is severely injured. The survivors struggle to stay afloat and regroup. As they tread water, the Meg returns, barreling toward Jax. At the last second, Heller makes a split-second choice. He swims toward the shark, screaming, drawing it away from her. It works. The Meg redirects, lunges, and devours him. His sacrifice buys the others precious seconds to reach safety. The remaining crew escape aboard inflatable motorboats. Morris, seeking control of the situation, calls in a support helicopter. The gunmen aboard manage to drive the Meg off with a barrage of gunfire, but the cost is already unbearable. On the boat, Dr. Zhang succumbs to his wounds. In his final moments, he looks to Su Yin, proud and at peace. With tearful eyes, he tells her he's proud of her. Then, quietly, he slips away. Later that night, Morris gathers the crew with a calm but authoritative tone, announcing that Mana 1 is shutting down. He assures everyone that authorities across several Asian countries have been alerted and are on their way to handle the Megalodon threat. But behind Morris's confident facade lies deception. In secret, he's arranged for a small military unit to quietly intervene, armed with depth charges dropped from a helicopter, with the intent to eliminate the shark without involving official agencies or risking his project's reputation. Morris boards a small boat with his armed team and heads to the designated strike zone. At first, their plan seems successful. Explosions ripple through the water, but the victory is hollow. The blasts have destroyed not the Meg, but an innocent whale instead. The whale's massive corpse sinks, becoming a grisly feast that attracts a pack of regular sharks. Moments later, the Megalodon arrives, its presence immediately scattering the smaller sharks. In a desperate attempt to escape, Morris tries to flee by boat, but chaos erupts. He's thrown overboard in the turmoil and clings to the dead whale's carcass, his final, fatal mistake. The Meg lunges with terrifying speed and swallows him whole. The crew soon learns the Megalodon is headed straight for a popular beach in China, threatening countless lives. They devise a risky plan, lure the shark away using recordings of whale calls, then attack it with torpedoes launched from their mini-subs. As the shark nears, it strikes first at a nearby Chinese wedding party on a boat, creating chaos. In a heartbreaking moment, it appears to swallow the bride's dog, Pippin. The beast then moves closer to the crowded beach, terrifying swimmers and onlookers alike. When the whale noises begin, the shark pauses, drawn to the sound. Taking the bait, it follows the lure out to sea, setting the stage for a tense underwater chase. Jonas leads the chase, maneuvering the shark toward Su Yin. She fires a torpedo, but it barely phases the monster. To make matters worse, Jonas's own torpedo malfunctions and won't fire. Amid the chaos, several news helicopters flying overhead collide in a disastrous crash, their wreckage raining down onto the team's boat. Forced into the water, the crew is scattered. Su Yin rushes to aid the others, while Jonas takes a daring stand against the Meg. Piloting the mini-sub, Jonas launches a desperate final attack, diving beneath the Meg and ramming upward into its soft underbelly. Enraged, the Meg turns on the sub, clamping down with crushing force. Jonas is out of time. He ejects from the wrecked sub just in time. Jonas manages to grab a piece of metal from the sub and thrusts it into the Meg's eye. In a jaw-dropping moment, both man and monster burst out of the water, arcing high into the air. Clinging to the piece of metal, Jonas drives it deeper into the Meg's eye. They crash back into the sea in a violent splash. The Meg twitches, then stills. As its massive body begins to sink, a swarm of regular sharks moves in, circling the bloodied giant. With the Megalodon finally defeated, the survivors regroup aboard the wedding couple's boat. Miraculously, Pippin, the bride's dog believed lost, joyfully reunites with everyone, safe and sound. Jonas and Suyin share a quiet, tender moment, their growing bond now clear and hopeful after the trials they endured together. As laughter and relief fill the air, the group celebrates their hard-won victory, knowing the oceans are safe once more.